Welcome to the Time is Right podcast. Time is Ripe is a digital journal podcast of Ripe Creatives. Ripe Creatives is a ministry that leverages the arts for the purpose of missions here in Philadelphia and around our region. Time is Ripe is hosted by Ripe Creatives founder Scott Smith and features various guests from within the Ripe community and our extended family. Each episode focuses on a specific experience that our team hosted here in the city or an outside event where someone from our team was booked to perform. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Y'all might have lost your way, but I'm still out here living my purpose. Know that I'm the best to do it when I'm living the service. Once you see light, you understand that.
What's up, fam? Welcome back to the Time is Right podcast. It's season 4. You know what that means. It's setting the stage, y'all. We are here over 50 episodes in.
Sheesh.
It's myself and Mr. Top Mop Productions.
It's the only time it's just the two of us on an episode.
That's true. We're here, Jarrett. We have been living life, doing many things together, regardless of this podcast, but sometimes on this podcast. But it is officially season 4. We are 4 years in.
I keep thinking we've only been doing this for like 2 years, and it has been so much longer.
I think it probably is like 2.5 years because we started like year 1 of talking about stuff. We were already at the end of that year.
That's true. That's true.
You know, I don't know.
I mean, we started 2022. I think we started posting at the beginning of 2022. But we might have.
No, because that was Good Soil year, right?
I thought Good Soil was in 21.
Oh gosh, was it? Guys,
I'm questioning everything about my life right now.
Was this a pre-pandemic thing? Guys,
it's sad that that's what I base my life on.
If you're here listening to this, you're probably like, what in the world is going on?
Oh, you're right. It was September 2022 is when we first started posting. We started recording beginning earlier in 2022. It was probably like June when we started
2021.
Recording. Yeah.
So it has only been 3 years. Yeah. 2.5 years. It's been 2.5 years. But we're on season 4.
Okay.
It's still a long time.
Yeah.
50 plus episodes. I heard a stat that 90%, 95 maybe? It might be 99%. I forget the percentage, but the majority, overwhelming majority of podcasts never make it past episode 5.
I believe it. With the amount of time and investment it's taken us to put this together, I could see why other people would just stop.
You just quit?
Yeah. Because just how much time it takes to put into it. Keeping up with the content, that's the one thing that we have a hack for is we're always doing events, so we're always going to have something to talk about. We don't have to sit around and make up something to talk about. We've already got it.
Right. Yeah, that is the one nice. I guess that is like a thing that if you were trying to come up with content to center an episode on,
yeah,
and write okay, today we're going to talk about art and poetry, you know?
Well, we did that 3 episodes ago.
It's like, today we're going to talk about production and lighting, you know? Like, if we took like a different element, yeah, that would be hard because you'd have to get more and more specific to find new things.
You got to niche down hard.
I think so. But we started with a niche. We started with, we're going to talk about stuff that happened in the past.
Yeah.
Specific dates on our calendar, events that we produced or events that we went to.
It's a niche, but it's a broad niche almost. It's a niche in that it's about us.
Oh, yes.
But
you got to care about Ripe to be on this podcast. If you don't care about Ripe, there's no way you're listening to this. Which I think is also kind of funny because most podcasts are about building a brand. Mm-hmm. And this has been about saying thank you to people. Yeah. It hasn't really been about building a network as much as it's been about honoring the one that we have.
Yeah.
You know, like this is basically our, you know, we say it on every setting the stage. It's like our audio newsletter, our digital journal for us to like timestamp the stories of how God moved in this ministry because Ripe Creatives might be around for 50 years. It might be gone in a year. but at least like we've canonized kind of the stories of it and what God did and how he was faithful with the ministry whenever it existed, that somebody 20 years from now could look back on and learn something from.
Yeah.
If they were so inspired to do that. That's the beauty of putting stuff out on the interwebs, is that it might last a really long time, assuming we don't go into an apocalypse, which is definitely possible.
Yeah. Learn from our victories, learn from our mistakes. We've had a lot.
Yeah, we have not done everything perfectly, that's for sure, but we have survived. And we're here on Setting the Stage, number 4.
Yeah.
Crazy. Jarrett, how are you feeling about the first 3 seasons overall? What have we done so far that you're like, I'm a fan of what we're doing? Anything that sticks out, and then we'll get into the look back of season 3 specifically.
I mean, just seeing the growth from, even just specifically on the podcast, seeing the growth of how we've upped the sound a little bit. Like there's only so much like the sound itself can upgrade, but just the effort that we put into it and the way we've learned how to shape the conversations, seeing all of that, and then just seeing the events we've been a part of, the events we've gotten to see come back multiple times for conversations. And honestly, I think it's cool. We've got a checklist of all the people that have been on between Ripe and Ripe Adjacent, and people who aren't Ripe Adjacent, but they just have done an event with us. The checklist of people that have come through and been on the episodes, because it's been 50 episodes, but we've probably had 30, 40 different people on.
Yeah, I think it's probably true, because it isn't a new person every time.
Yeah.
We definitely have returners on some episodes, but we've had episodes where we had 2 guests.
Yeah.
Or even 3 guests. I
think one may be a returner and one is a brand new person,
right,
or they're both brand new people.
Yeah, I actually wonder what the math would be on that. I bet it's at least 35.
Yeah.
I was 35 different people that have been on this podcast. Yeah. And you're right. I think a cool thing is the through line has been, if you looked up Time is Ripe Breakaway, mm-hmm, you would see that on multiple years. Yeah. So you'd have to check the date to know what year we're talking about, because we keep getting invited back. I think in 2025, there'll be our 4th year of doing Breakaway.
You'd also have to check the description, because there's like 3 different breakaways we do stuff.
That's facts. Breakaway is a bad example, because there's probably 7 Breakaway episodes. But, like just that idea, like Creatives Cafe, we probably have a bunch of different Creatives Cafe episodes, yeah, but they're different years and different venues with different people, different stories. So even what might be redundant is never redundant, in the sense that every night is unique.
Exactly.
And to be honest, like we don't just do episodes to do episodes either.
Yeah.
So we rarely, I don't think we've ever walked into this room to record an episode, because it takes our time.
Yeah.
It takes our time to drive over, get together, set up this stuff to do it, record it, then edit it, then finalize it, and then send it out.
Even just coordinating the time that all 3 people that need to be here can be here at the same time. If we didn't actually think there would be a good conversation, I would leave the chat immediately.
Right. Like if it's not worth it, it's too much else going on in life for us to focus on the podcast in a way that we're just trying to get stuff out to get stuff out.
Yeah.
Like it does not make sense for our rhythm as human beings, as married myself, engaged for you, yeah, baby for me. You have a studio business, you have your gigs and everything else. I have my gigs. Ripe has a lot going on. Like we're not just going to waste time doing episodes that don't matter. I mean, it might feel like Setting the Stage doesn't matter, but this one matters because this is us.
Honestly, setting the stage is always fun. It's always fun to start out the season, see what expectations we have, see what actually happens or doesn't happen, yes, and seeing what happens that we had no clue was going to happen.
That is my favorite thing ever. Listening back to Setting the Stage season 3, I was cracking up because we had so many this might happen by episode 50, blah, 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 blah. And we were talking about a whole bunch of stuff that we weren't really allowed to say. None of that has actually come to pass that
No.
we thought was going to happen. And we were pretty confident it was going to happen, and it didn't happen, at least not yet. But other things have happened that has completely changed the narrative
Yeah.
for us, which is super, super cool. But before we get to that, let's talk about the breakdown. Look back. Season 3, Jarrett. I have the breakdown here.
Okay.
Listen to what we did. We did 19 episodes, which is significant. I think we
That's very
did 20 in
significant for us.
season 2, 19 in season 3. So we did one less, but still more than one a month, about 1.5 a month on average. Here's the breakdown. We did 3 Pass the Mic episodes to kick off the year. That's where the poets went on tour. We did 2 Two Lines episodes. We did one about the anniversary, one about Mr. AVG. We did the episode about Texas with Red Lion. We did 5 Creatives episodes. We did a gallery with Terry, because we always do the galleries pretty much. We did 2 out of the 4 co-bills. So we did the Liv Weatherby co-bill. We did the Emma Nissen, Antai, Leah Wren co-bill. We did a Pier and Cafe. Those are the 5 creatives. 2 Good Soil episodes. We did the one in Manoa and the one in East Stroudsburg. 2 conferences, Breakaway and Refresh. We did 1 retreat, which was the other Breakaway. Not to be confused with the conference Breakaway. And then we did 1 festival, Agape Fest, and the Amped episode with Mike Montgomery. 19 total episodes.
Sheesh.
Jarrett, what are some of your favorites?
I said it on setting stage 2 and 3. I always love Creatives episodes. That's my real touch point with Ripe. But even just listening, I would say the Good Soils were really fun to listen to this past year, because I think it just took me back, because our very first episode that wasn't setting the stage was about Good Soil. So it was cool seeing it making a resurgence, and hopefully you're going to get a couple more of them this coming season too.
And we had just had great people on those.
Yeah.
Like we had Esty and Pre. We had never had Pre on an episode before.
Yeah, Priscilla making an appearance.
That was amazing. Was Aaron on that one too?
No, that was Ant.
Ant was on that one.
Ant joined us for
right,
that
because of Manoa connection. It was just a great conversation. Then the one at East Stroudsburg, we had Graham on.
And Craig.
What
a combo.
which is just a wild combination.
Oh my gosh.
Those were definitely great episodes. And just really meaningful for us because of what Good Soil we feel like is a way forward for us as a ministry.
It's one of the most unanimous decisions I think I've seen in Ripe, with everyone being for it. Like no one had qualms with it. Once we did the first one and people understood the vision, no one wants to back off.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty. We've been really blessed. It's a big lift for our community, but everybody seems excited to pick up their part.
Yeah, because it's more of a group lift now, rather than people going out doing a gig where it's just 2 people or just 3 of us go and hang out and do this thing. It's everybody. It's where the full community comes together outside of a family night.
Yep, that's real. It's real. Shout out to that. Any other ones? You said the Creatives episodes. Any of the Creatives ones stick out?
Specifically with Creatives, we talked about Creatives Pier. I like talking about those just because they're a heavy lift for me. They're probably one of the biggest ones that I have got to put together event-wise. But it's always...
We had Mike on too.
Yes, and Mike was on. It was fun because that was the first one Mike was on. Mm-hmm. He's just a good person to talk to. So having him on in a conversation about an event that is near and dear to me was awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Mike. Mike is the first guest that we've had on that actually listens to the podcast. He knew all the episodes, which we appreciate so much, Mike. Everybody else listening are people from all over the country that value Ripe enough to listen to this thing. But Mike Weatherby from the community actually checks this thing out. I love the cafe at Bedrock with Elle, just for the sake of having Elle on. Elle has been a huge part of our team for a long time. Been a part of the worship team, Creatives Band, different events that we've even done episodes about. A lot that we haven't done episodes about, Elle was on.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, finally we got an excuse to get Elle on the podcast, similar to Mike. I think getting voices from our community that we all know that anybody from the outside doesn't even know exist, I think is always like, that's a win, I think, for the podcast. Any others that stood out? I know I have a set that I'm going to say something about.
I mean, go ahead and say them.
It's the Pass the Mic episodes.
Yeah. I knew that was coming.
Yeah. I mean, like, it was me, Greg, Sergey, and AVG for 17 hours in a room talking about the tour that we did in January of 2024, to start the whole season. Like, they're all good listens, but they're also like a trilogy that they build off of each other, and others wouldn't make sense without the other one. So I think they're good. They're a good little subset.
Talking about backstory of doing all of these episodes, you thought that would be one episode, 2 max, and we walk in and I'm like, Scott, this ain't gonna be less than 2. This is gonna be at least 3, if not 4.
Yeah, it probably could have been 4, to be honest.
It could have. You guys, we had to cut a lot out to make it fit. And
everybody was cooked, man.
Yeah, you were all very tired. By
the end of that one, we were done. But it was great, man. Like, I love talking about God's faithfulness.
Yeah.
And the way that we stepped out in faith to do something, and the fruit that came out of it.
I was just about to say, the faith that it took to pull off that tour, that is one of the biggest endeavors anyone in Ripe has tried to undertake, within Ripe or outside of it, really.
Yeah.
So seeing it pulled off I think was encouraging, and I think it was encouraging to other people to see it pulled off.
Yep.
And hopefully it makes it less intimidating of an idea for people.
Yeah, and I mean, it certainly led to the Houston trip.
Yeah.
It certainly led to Oracles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think we touch Oracles without that tour, because the tour is what really brought us together as a team, and really just made us all kind of feel like, hey, we got to do something.
A couple of people you did stuff with on that tour are going to be coming out as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a family affair. So I think those episodes were definitely some of my favorites. I mean, you could bring up a lot of different ones. The retreat breakaway with Meg DeHaven and Emily, like, that's always a great conversation, great time there.
I did like that one.
Amped episode with Mike Montgomery, drove all the way up from Southern Maryland about his event. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. Red Line was in town from Texas, from Houston, and so we shot an episode about our Houston trip with him.
Yeah.
That was a great episode.
Cape Fest when Maria when she came out, and just hearing the whole backstory of her connection with creation and how long she had been involved, and then hearing them put their own faith into action with their new festival was incredible.
Yep. Yeah, great episodes all the way around.
Like you said, we don't do an episode without something good to talk about. So picking a favorite's hard because they're all good.
I would say, yeah, I mean, that's the hope. If we do throwaway episodes, then I think we are putting the entire podcast in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Because if we start doing episodes that we didn't even really believe in doing, an episode about that thing, then we're lying to you.
Yeah.
So like, it's not fair. It's not fair to y'all to do episodes that don't matter. So,
for reference, if we actually did episodes on every event, we would probably be over 150 episodes right now.
Oh,
for all years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well beyond it.
We did 100 gigs last year.
Yeah.
We had 100 dates last year, in season 4, like, that we could have done episodes about. And not to mention the fact that you have different vantage points of all of those events, because most of the events that we do are not just solo artists. Mm-hmm. Most of them are multiple people, but coordinating that many get-togethers, taking that much of Jarrett's time, he would kill me. So
doing that many episodes a week, that would have to be at least 2 episodes out a week.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That would be crazy.
We're not doing that. In Jesus' mighty name. Speaking of which, season 4, we're just going to pick the best possible conversations moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
And, hence why we're here talking about setting the stage season 4. We didn't shut it down, guys.
No.
We didn't quit the podcast.
We just have been taking it a little slow.
We're doing things slowly.
Life has
slowly
gotten
but surely
busy for both of us. And we're the ones that have to pull it off.
Yes. And it's just hard to get people into a room to record episodes consistently when everybody has different work schedules, different life schedules, church schedules. So, we're here though. Looking at season 4, we know a couple episodes that are coming.
Yeah.
Surprise, we're doing one about Kingdom Philly. Cannot wait for you guys to hear that episode. Shout out to Will Toms, Keith Reed, Doc Hero.
Yep.
3 amazing Philadelphia artists, Christian legend people that love God a whole lot and are doing some great work together for the kingdom. Pun intended. We also got Open Heart Poetry.
Yeah.
Guy by the name of Poetic Willie Douglas. We found out that that's his real name. I didn't know that until he got here.
Don't out the man before the episode.
I didn't know that. Poetic Will. But yeah, amazing dude doing one of the best things in Jersey. I got to be a part of their anniversary showcase. We know we're going to do episodes about like good soil.
Oh, yeah.
Episode about oracles. We're going to have a bunch of creatives popping up, both cafes and peers. So there's going to be other gigs and different things like conferences. We have the Breakaway Conference again in 2025. So, there's a lot of episodes that are definitely coming, but I'm excited for the first couple. I feel like the first couple are going to set the standard of like, here's the episodes are going to involve people like this, having conversations like this, or we're not going to do them.
Yeah. Something I remember being excited about with the last setting the stage was seeing who was going to come on that hadn't been on before. And I didn't realize how many were going to be people that were not even in Ripe. And I love that because we get all these people adjacent also doing their own ministries, and we're all connecting and building off of each other and hearing their encouragement to Ripe and us giving them encouragement back. It's just incredible to see on the episodes.
Yeah. It's really cool. Like we definitely had both. We had a lot of outside voices.
Yeah.
Like the Mike Montgomerys, the Meg DeHavens, the Gary Grecos, the Red Lions, right? We had a lot of those people. But then we also had a lot of new Ripe people like the El Fatis and the Mikes as well. And I think that's always been kind of a goal. Like when we're thinking about if we're only going to do 15 to 20 of these episodes a year, what excuses can we come up to get new people on?
Yeah.
And, even if it's like, well, we could have Aunt G on every episode because Angie's literally at everything. Angie would stop coming if we asked him to come on every episode. But it's like we could have his voice on every one for sure. But, who hasn't been on yet? Mm-hmm. Who hasn't gotten a chance to share a story from their vantage point and voice? And so trying to find ways to, make sure that we're always inviting new people. I think it's special because for that person's audience and friends, right? They're going to listen to that because they're on it, because they're going to share it with them because it's an exciting thing to be on a podcast with us, right? But now that group of people gets exposed to Ripe Creatives for the first time. And maybe they check out the next episode. Maybe they go back and look at one that we put out from before. And I think that's like cool fruit from this thing as well. Is constantly trying to bring new people on. But yeah, I think it'll be good. You were talking about going back to Setting the Stage season 3. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about this now. We said a couple things that we thought were going to happen.
We said a lot of things that we thought were going to happen.
But we said, like, we don't know. It could be, but it's very likely, is what we said.
Yeah.
And a lot of that revolved around Ripe and property, which has not come to pass by any stretch of the imagination.
At least not yet.
Still in conversations with this amazing organization that has these properties, hoping that someday, somehow, some way, that could be a part of it. But we had to pump the brakes in some ways just because fiscally we ain't got it like that right now. So we're waiting on the Lord to provide in that sense. And they also have a lot that they're trying to do organizationally themselves to get themselves in position to get other properties done even before ours. So our potential partnership. But we talked about within that whole situation, Ripe having a dedicated place to record.
Yeah.
which did not happen that way.
That way at all.
But totally did happen a different way.
Very different way.
Because we are sitting in a space that we have recorded the last, I don't know, probably 10 episodes in.
At least.
Except for like maybe one we did a family night. But we record almost every episode in a place called Top Mop Savage Studios. Because even though Ripe didn't get its own space, Jarrett did, guys. Jarrett and Raph, shout out to Raph. If you don't remember the Raffy from the retreat episode a couple years ago. It's fantastic. Jarrett and Raph went in on a space together and rented out, leased a space for a couple years at least to create their own studio.
Yeah.
Which is also where we record these podcasts, which is also where a whole bunch of content gets filmed, which is also a venue for an event called Two Lines.
A couple episodes have talked about being in here.
That's what I'm saying.
The past two lines have been in here. Yeah.
Crazy.
It's very crazy. I think part of the reason that we have this space is because it was born out of the conversations that we had about moving into the possible ripe real estate areas. Because we talked about getting a space and then people kept throwing the idea, oh, well, what if you built a studio in the space? What if you did that? And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I would be comfortable putting my space in here because there are times where I'm not always working with necessarily Christian artists. I'm trying to minister to them and I'm trying to connect with them, but I know that they might come in and make some content that wouldn't necessarily be great for it to be in a place that's called Ripes. Mm-hmm. And with that on my heart and wanting to grow my own branding and talking with Raph, and he wants to grow his own branding and we want to grow our branding together because we work on so many projects together. We kept talking about getting a space. I remember texting him and being like, bro, do you want to get a studio? Would you be down to do that? And how it's evolved out of that was crazy into getting the space where we are now. This isn't the type of space we were imagining at all, but it's better. And we're happy with how versatile a space it can be, whether it be for shooting the podcasts, having Two Lines in, being a place for content, for Ripe, for anyone. It's a blessing in its own way.
Oh, it's been a massive blessing, guys. Like it's become like a home base hub for so many things that happen in our community. And totally unexpected.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's cool how, and I respect like your reasoning, right, for not wanting to necessarily tether a Top Mop studio in with Ripe because you are a professional. You work with everybody. You are not specifically just working with Christian artists. You work with a lot of Christian artists. I'm sure probably even the majority of your clients might be Christian artists.
Exactly.
But certainly, like, if somebody calls you and wants their project mixed and mastered, this is what you do professionally, right? If you're a Christian plumber, you don't just fix Christians' plumbings, right? You work with whoever calls you.
I specialize in church plumbing only, thank you.
Yeah, like, I'm not coming to your house to fix your plumbing. No, you see it as an opportunity to, one, build your business and make equity, to tent make for yourself.
Yeah.
But also, from a missional standpoint, like, I'm in somebody's home to fix their plumbing. I might actually be able to be a light to this person.
Yeah.
Right. I might even look for an opportunity to bless them, to speak a word to them, to pray for them, to encourage them, to invite them into a space where they might be able to hear the gospel if I can't get to the gospel in their home with them today. And it's the same way as a sound engineer, right? As a mixing and mastering engineer that you are. You know, you leverage your space to connect with people right where they are. But who those people are might not always make sense in a overtly churchy Christian setting.
Right.
And so, yeah, like, I respect the decision. When you even said that to me, I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. That makes a lot of sense. I never expected you to get this, though.
Yeah.
Like, I was expecting what you would think of when you think of a studio. You think of like a front of house room with a mixing board, a back room with a glass light, thing. This is not that. This is This is like a full-scale kind of venue that fits about 50 people studio.
It's a one-room studio. I've seen other studios like this, and I don't think I ever fully understood how they work because I never took the time to look into it because, you know, in my mind, I'm never going to need that. But now that I'm in it, I've looked at how a lot of other people run it. I'm looking at how I run it, and it's more common than I realized it was, and there's a lot of ways to work with it. And I think it's more of a flexible space for what I do. Because I need to be a little bit more flexible because especially working with Raf with Savage Media, Savage Productions, whatever. I always forget if it's
Savage Consultation.
He said he was changing it though, and I don't know if he did yet.
Savage Media?
Savage Productions, I think.
Savage Production?
I think that's what he was going for.
He's not a production company though.
Well, he does a bunch of lighting. So he's grip, cameras, lighting, like he can do a lot.
Raf. Okay.
Whenever that happens. But working with video, working with audio, we need a space that's very flexible.
Right.
And this has just turned into that.
It's amazing. I wish you guys could see it. Maybe one day you will.
Maybe.
I mean, you could see it on the Futon Sessions. Shout out to the Futon Sessions. It's one of the things that Jared and Raf do together.
That's my baby. Futon Sessions on YouTube.
But yeah, one of the things we also said, setting the stage season 3, we lied to the people. We said that we were going to do video. We never did video. Main reason is we make too many mistakes talking.
We're not that eloquent.
We're not very eloquent people, I'll be honest. I know I'm not.
We're from Philly.
We talk like crazy people sometimes. And we need to edit things quickly and down to like the millisecond. So trying to edit that with video would feel a little clunky. If we ever get to the point where we are more eloquent and have better conversations, maybe we could do video. But most of the podcasts you guys see on video on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and everywhere else, they're not cutting those things up very much.
Yeah.
Like they are a live take kind of podcast.
If you say something crazy, you said something crazy, and it's just there.
It's there. So we've been a little bit more meticulous to not do that.
Yeah.
We would like to get there eventually. And now that we do have the studio, I think it's actually possible. From a functional standpoint, it'd be easy to set up cameras and do it in a place like this. But
right.
We will see. We will see. We have not made it a priority as of now.
It's a possibility, but it's not as much of a promising possibility as we said last time.
Yeah, I think we lied there. We didn't mean to lie. It wasn't an intentional lie.
Yeah.
It wasn't a misdirection. It's just we realized, man, there's a lot of edits on these podcasts. And trying to edit that and make it not look like the choppiest video of all time would be extremely difficult.
It'd be near impossible.
And a lot of that's my fault because I'm the one who messes up all the time. So we'll see. Maybe one day we'll do a video podcast. I don't even know who would be on that one.
Make it a special
It would have to
edition
be something
drop.
really special.
Yeah.
It would have to be like the news about a building or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? We're not actually doing a back in time is ripe episode, but we're doing like an update episode or maybe a big moment. Something happens in life that we need to share with people. Maybe we could do that on video.
Yeah.
No promises though.
We learned our lesson.
Probs not, but possible.
There you go.
Right? Any other things season 4 related, Jarrett, before we get into season 4, you know?
I mean, it's the same thing I said last time. I'm excited to see who comes through and what we get to talk about. Because the people that came through on season 3 and already the people who have started coming through for season 4.
Yeah, we've already recorded a couple episodes.
Mm-hmm. But it's just already showing the growth of who's coming through. Because it's not just random people. These aren't nobodies. These are people who are established in what they do that are coming through recognizing what it is we're doing. And it's not us on our own. It's not feeling like it's us on our own anymore with our own events. It's us partnering.
I love it. I think that's the word this year is like collaboration.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's probably force-fed a little bit because of baby mode. Being a dad, just like my capacity is different. And I don't have the ability to do everything the way that I used to maybe have a higher capacity. Like I have to pick my spots better.
It's
personally.
forced. It might be forced, but at the same time, being in those situations is what makes everything happen. That being in a situation where you have to come up with another solution is how some of the best ideas are ever made.
Yeah. And I mean, the heart has always been to partner and collaborate. Like it's written into our mission statement. It's written into our website, like our partners page. Top Mop is on our partners page. Savage is on our partners page, right? They've been there since the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know, as organizations that we partner with as Ripe Creatives.
But I think a lot of our partnerships were just within Ripe, and now we're finally getting to branch out in a beautiful way.
Yeah, I feel like we've internally partnered really well.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, Even Good Soil is really a partnership between us and a church.
Yeah.
That's doing a lot of the heavy lifting to promote the show, you know, create the space for us to be able to go in and leverage and utilize. Whereas like a lot of times we've been going and finding spaces and doing this. And I just think it's going to be a really good year.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see how we can be a place where other people get to share some of their stories of what they have going on and how we play a very small part in that, but we're connected to it relationally or whatever else. So, yeah, I think you're right, man. This could be the year of collaboration, 2025, which I think is healthier for everybody.
Yeah, we've really learned how to partner and collaborate with each other better, and I think that's helped us learn how to work with people outside of our community. And I mean, everything we do is partnership, from the existence of Ripe, from all the supporters to even just pulling off an event with 2-3 artists. It's all partnership and collaboration.
Yeah. None of this is a one-man show, one-woman show. It requires a whole bunch of people saying yes to the same thing in the same way at the same time, and every part doing their role. Like,
yeah,
not everybody's a hand, not everybody's a knee, not everybody's a foot. Everybody has different gifts and different strengths to make this thing work together. And speaking of which, Jarrett, you have been the head, the neck, the shoulders, the arms, the hands, the knees, the toes of this thing called Time is Ripe. I've said it every single year, but I will say it again because it's true. Time is Ripe would literally just be an idea if it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
Because I do not know how to record nothing. I don't know how to edit anything. I don't know how to release things and upload things. Like, I mean, I'm sure I could go online and like figure out some of this stuff.
Yeah.
But you have the raw materials. You have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment that you own, that you've, you know, gathered over years because this is what you love, is doing audio recording and production. And thank you for believing in this thing. You know, I know you do this for other people. You get paid to do this, you know, real amounts of money, not pennies or hugs, you know, or lunch or something. But Jarrett has been a believer in this thing. And I hope by the grace of God that Ripe has helped Top Mop grow its network, even if it hasn't necessarily filled your pockets with resources. It's grown kind of your world, but you've grown ours, man. And so I just want to honor you and thank you for everything you do for this podcast.
I love Ripe. Like I said, the studio itself wouldn't even exist without encouragement from Ripe and the people I know in Ripe. Everyone I know that I have connections with in Philly, directly or indirectly, all comes back to just that creatives in 2019.
Yeah.
It all comes back to that one spot. That's really been the growing point for me in Philly.
It's beautiful, man. The night I asked Jarrett to marry me. Not really.
Will you run my sound forever?
I said, will you be my sound guy forever?
I didn't know he meant it literally.
You're like, you are a weird person. I was like, I know. I just have met many sound engineers over the years that are not you. And it's been an honor, man. It's been really, I'm thankful, man. Like, I've said it to you over and over and over again. Everything I have is yours. You know, and there was a time where I had, you know, equipment that you needed. Now you have all your own equipment. You don't need any of mine anyway. But there was a time where, you know, I just said, like, whatever you need, grab it and go. Because I believe in what you're doing the same way that you believe in what we're doing. And, the essence of partnership that we're looking forward to talking about on 2025, season 4, it's really the heartbeat of this is friendship, connection, trust. You trust me, I trust you, and we get to do this thing together. So I'm very thankful for you and honor you, and thank you for all the work you do for Time is Ripe to exist. Lastly, we got to thank our partners.
Yes.
The people who give us resource so that we can exist.
The people we do this for.
Yes. This whole thing is to say thank you to you, genuinely. We are not trying to get famous. We don't promote this thing. We don't spend money on marketing to get our names out there. Like, we really don't care to be famous. We just want you to know that you're valued and that you are honored and you are thanked. And so that's why we get in this room to record these episodes, is to be, kind of like altar builders where we remind ourselves of God's goodness, but also because we want to share these altars with you so that you can worship Jesus, who has done all these things with us, because we want you to be encouraged that what you're giving resources to actually matters. I've seen a lot of things that raise a lot of resources that don't actually do the things that they say they're going to do. And so my heartbeat is like very much that we are good stewards with your resource. You might not realize this, but Ripe Creatives is basically, as of this juncture, supported by about 50 families and a handful of churches. And that is what funds Ripe Creatives. And we would love to grow our support network, but we want to make sure that whoever we grow with knows that we honor them and we thank them as they give. And so every new person that gives, every new church that partners with us is going to get this episode and get the next episode, because we're going to keep putting these things out because we want to say thank you.
Yeah.
And so if you partner with us, thank you. And if you don't partner with us, we would love for you to consider partnering with us so that we can continue to thank you on every one of these episodes, because that's really what this whole thing is about. Without your support, we would not be doing this.
No.
Like if we were, a for-profit LLC business type situation, we would not spend the time to do these episodes. We do these episodes because we want to pause and say thank you to the people that are ultimately funding everything that we have going on.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here, y'all. We love y'all. And thank you so much. All the stuff that we talk about is only possible because a whole bunch of folks have said yes to partnering with us.
Yep.
And we're going to say yes to partnering with others this year and trying to be a blessing and be a light and be a support to other folks in our region who are trying to make much of who Jesus is through the arts. So you're going to be here for the journey, and we're excited to share it with you. Jarrett, I have nothing else to say. I'm excited for season 4.
Same.
But do you have any final thoughts?
I'm just ready to get into it.
Let's get into it. Be on the lookout for the first episode after this one. And hope you enjoy season 4. And until that time, until next time, stay right.
Boy, that's it. Yeah, I'm done with the games. I thought this was.
You can learn more about Ripe Creatives and support our ministry by visiting our website, ripecreatives.com. To never miss a future episode, you can join our community text line by texting Time is Ripe to 215-273-3540. Time is Ripe is produced, recorded, edited, and released by Top Mop Productions. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Living my purpose. Know that I'm the best to do it when I'm living the service. Once you see light, you understand that sin is whack. Be aware, wolves plotting on the next attack. Armor of God, give me the word. I'm always strapped. My brother's able, never question if I got his back.